All right, welcome back to the episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we're reviewing Nosferatu, a gothic tale of an obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing an untold horror in its wake. This movie has an 85% critic score, a 73% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, 2 hours, 12 minutes, rated R, hard R, if you will. This is Robert Eggers' interpretation of the story of Nosferatu. I believe the original was like 1922, I want to say.
Very old.
So, very old. We got a special guest, Brian Pavish, joining us.
Feels good to be back, boys. I'm sorry for my hiatus.
Yeah.
Well, you've now been on more episodes in the last year than Mike, so.
All right, I got that going. I know that
Yeah.
my stats still beat his, but again, I did miss it. Just a little hard. I finally got a job, and they worked me till 6 p.m., so by the time I'm out of there, I just want to go home.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
what did you
Josh.
think of this movie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, this movie was sweet. I knew going into it that it was the same guy that made The Witch, or The Vitch, however you want to say it. It's like the double V. That's really all I knew about it. And I knew that Skarsgård was going to be in it. And I'm a big fan of him. And this really put the nail in the coffin for me. He killed it. I love this fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, I heard that you might go see it again.
Yeah, Mandy had said that, but
So
I need subtitles. Okay, here's my issue. I'm just gonna say this out the bat. I
Please.
haven't been to the movies in a minute. It's probably been like 4 months since I've been in a theater, let alone in the IMAX. I think the last time I went to IMAX was when Transformers came out, and me and Sanch went.
Oh, damn.
So I forgot how fucking loud that is, which is, good on them. That's like kind of the point. But at the
Yeah.
beginning, dude, you're adjusting because it starts off so hot that you don't know what's going on. You don't know the level of horror that it's going to be, because I knew that it was like a scary movie, but I didn't look too much into people saying, hey, it's the guy that made The Witch, like expect that level. And that movie got me at a couple times. So I'm already on edge about that. The movie's super loud, and I couldn't understand the beginning. His fucking accent was too thick for me, like offhand. So the beginning part I put together at this point, but I would like to see it have subtitles. So I don't know if I'd go to the theater again.
So I want to kind of counter what you said. I didn't like this movie.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge horror fan, and I'll probably maybe get some hate, but I'm not a huge horror fan movie person. It's not my cup of tea. And to me, I thought it was kind of hard to understand, like you just said. And to me, it kind of dragged. Like, this seemed long. It's 2 hours, like 10 minutes. Probably could have cut like a half hour. No lie.
Wow.
I think I could have chopped a half hour out of this movie. And I think it would have sped up the pacing and stuff, and it would have made it a little bit more, I don't know. It just felt like it felt dull at moments. Don't get me wrong. So here's where I'll defend it and I think it was good. Set design was great. I thought Nosferatu was creepy and scary. It's got a couple of little like jump scares. Are they necessary? No, but they kind of add to like the thrill of the movie. So overall, will I watch this again? Hell no. I'll never see this again. And that's because this is actually, fun fact, this is a sequel to Nosfer. This is Nosferatu. This is the second one in the series.
Boo. Boo.
Dad joke in there, too. Even throw a dad joke in there. Yeah. So I think it's funny because Brian seems to have almost loved it, right? You really enjoyed it. Andrew did not like it, and I'm more in the middle of you two.
You're our middle ground here.
Yeah, because I could see myself rewatching it again. I think the acting in the movie was incredible, which I think you kind of mentioned there.
I think that's what gets me the most is just the level of dedication that these actors had in this movie. I thoroughly, in a while, haven't seen acting like that. It felt great.
Yeah.
I just don't think I like horror anxiety driven movie. Like, I walk out of there, I have a headache.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe it was just because I had a headache, and I'm throwing it on the movie. But I feel like that's a common trend, like with like a scary, like horror movie, different from like a thriller. Like I think like Alien Romulus that we got last year was like a sci-fi thriller. where this just seemed like it was more like that horror movie. Again, it was beautiful. Set design was great. Acting was pretty good. But like, just me as my opinion. Nah, I'll never watch this again.
I could not have gone in more blind. I did not know the
Oh, me
story
too. I
beforehand.
knew nothing.
I didn't even know it was Robert Eggers. I didn't know. I knew Willem Dafoe was in it. That is it, and he doesn't show up
That
till the
was a
second act.
surprise. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I'm like, is he Orlok? Like, I didn't even know. And this is to you know this is to Bill's credit. I'll say this:
Mhm.
if I didn't know that was Bill Skarsgård because I saw it in the credits and I had a feeling, but like truly, maybe if I haven't seen it or if I didn't know that much about Bill Skarsgård, I would have been like, who the hell was that? The way he did it was amazing. And my understanding is because I've seen like little clips of the old Nosferatu and the way he used to look. He almost looks like a man in a way. In this movie, he looks like a monster, a true monster, and that's what he's supposed to be. And so, just to give credit to that, he looked incredible and was very creepy.
I think when he had like the overcoat kind of look on, he did look
Yeah.
man-esque. Like he didn't
Well,
look like a straight
they
up
did
monster.
they did a really great job when Thomas first went to his castle to get him to sign the deed. Like they weren't showing him on camera unless it was like something blurrier in the
Yeah.
background. Like and that was to just build suspense, and it did a great job doing that. Like not showing him right away was awesome.
Weird thing. I think I actually liked the first act the best out of them, which is I did just comment and say dull build up, felt like there was filler. The first act I actually felt had good pacing, and once he got to the castle, I mean you know that figure, that man is Nosferatu, but you're kind of still waiting for that unveiling. And that whole idea that he would just be in the castle and just wake up. Oh, and he's trying to figure out, was that a dream? Was it reality? I really liked that because it almost felt like kind of like maybe if you're going crazy or something. Like you're in between sleep or something. So I really liked the first part of the movie. Then the second and the third act I thought was the worst personally. I think it kind of went in order. One was good, two was okay, and three, like, I was checking my watch.
Yeah. And one more person to praise, Lily Rose Depp, who plays Ellen, the main character.
Mm-hmm.
There would be so many scenes where she'd act sporadic or insane, and in that same scene go sane and act normal.
Yeah.
Without any cuts, that acting was nuts.
That's
she
what
did a
I'm
great
saying.
job.
You don't get that these days, I feel like. And she killed it, man.
I agree. And Brian, I'll give it even, for someone that's saying I don't like it, but it's just the genre of movie that I don't like. I'll give it some more credit. This felt like an old school horror movie in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Like it really felt like something that could have been made, and this is a good credit to it, made like 70 years ago, but with modern technology. And I thought they did, like, I think it has some regard there, but I don't know, overall I didn't love it.
And they apparently stayed really close to the source material throughout the whole movie, like even the ending. So just to reiterate that, the original, like I said, I think it's 1922 or something, over 100 years ago at this point.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. Which I think, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, you might know this. It's not Dracula, but it's like a spin-off version of Dracula, right? Because they didn't have the rights back then, so that's why they made Nosferatu. It's like a version of him.
I think it was something because Dracula was originally a book, and I think that's where they got the idea.
Yeah, Count Orlok.
Well, and then on top of that, I'm like 99% positive Mandy had told me that Nosferatu is what's it called? Romanian for vampire. So like he's just vampire essentially is his name. So like that's where they were rolling with it.
We see Transylvania in this movie.
Yeah, and okay, so we were talking about the beginning, and I had said this to Mandy, and I really would be open to this, which obviously I don't think Eggers would because he's a busy guy. But along with what Andrew said, I do like because Thomas's whole fucking trip out to Transylvania is basically a trip. Like he doesn't know if it's real or not.
Yeah, he can't figure out if
When
he's
he runs
losing his
into
mind.
the I'm trying to think of the proper term to say here because they were saying it, but you can't say it anymore. The folk that he runs into in the town, they're vampire hunters. And I wish we got fucking more on that. Instead, Thomas just shows up at this town, has this insane what he thinks is a dream, but then looks at his feet and they're covered in mud. So clearly it wasn't a dream. And there's no explanation on that at all.
I agree. Yeah, and that I think it was really just supposed to kind of play in with him, like it was supposed to build on him kind of losing his mind.
Yeah.
Like not being able to decipher what's real, what's not real. And as he gets closer to this castle, maybe it has more of that effect on him. That's how I took that away. But I do agree with you. Like I would have liked to have seen, they could have built on that. Even if you would have gave, some of the filler scenes that we got, I felt like,
Or
take 5 minutes and build on that a little bit more.
Yeah, him working with Seavers, and then I remember Seavers' name, but what was Defoe's name in the movie? I got to check. But like, if they would have worked together with one of the, is that what it was? Everhart. Mm-hmm. If they would have worked with one of the townsfolk that was like into the folklore, if William Defoe would have brought him in, like something like that, that would have been sick as hell.
Yeah.
But again, I even told Manny, I was like, I want more of that. And to Andrew's point, that's something they could have kind of cut. Other than, I guess it just kind of confirms that there is vampires out there and there is people that believe in that and truly think that that is a greater evil that you need to worry about and that you shouldn't go to the castle,
Well, and Thomas, too, saw over that night how to kill a vampire. When you wake him up, take the stake. So I thought that part kind of was needed to a certain degree. This is one of the bigger gripes I have with this movie. I have no concept of time throughout this movie. Like I think he's at the castle for 2 days, but you could make the argument he was there for 2 months. I really don't know.
Well, because
I think it's supposed to be that way, though.
The trip itself is like a fortnight, which is like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, but Brian, and then too, characters discover throughout this movie fast travel, basically. You're able to, you know what I mean? And so, that was kind of annoying to me. I don't know. And I know the movie can't be that long, but I didn't understand.
Boat. I didn't understand that either. We'll talk about it. The end scene, you're just to assume that Thomas ran through the whole night.
Yeah. And he's very wounded.
Yes.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I understand Thomas is losing his mind, but when he gets picked up on the road by the horse and carriage with nobody in it, dude, it was so fucking trippy. I loved it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, even in my most insane mind, I am not getting in this fucking carriage with no driver.
Yeah, I'm chased by wolves. It literally did almost feel like a bad, that scene in particular, like a bad trip on something. If you were to, not that we ever would,
never,
but if you were trying something like that and it was a bad time, that is kind of what that would probably feel like.
Yeah. With the light kind of beaming in, it looked beautiful.
It was triggering a part of my brain that I'm like.
There's a lot of scenes like that, though. I think it was it was Frederick's wife. I think Anna is her name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when, I think this is in the third act, but she's walking down that hallway in the dark, and the camera just slowly turns to the staircase, and then slowly comes back. There's a lot of shots like that, really cool. It made me. I'm freaking out in my seat.
There was no jump scare there, was there?
No, not there. Well,
okay.
Ellen was there.
I was going to say Ellen was kind of popular because you expect the worst, and then it's Ellen saying, "Hey, can I sleep with you tonight?"
Yeah,
we've seen movies. Anyone that's seen a movie, knows that slow rolling shot back and forth. I'm sure it has a technical name. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. But if you've seen it, you know it, and you're waiting for that big boom.
Dude, the big boom that got me though is when Thomas realizes that Skarsgård is a vampire, that the Count is a liar, and he's not a real person. And when he's in the tomb, which also, I don't know if you guys remember, I remember reading this on Twitter when the movie was coming out. Those are all real rats. They spared no
Ew.
expense on the rats. Those were all
That's
real.
disgusting.
Yeah. So, but no, dude, when he opens that fucking tomb and then you get the full frontal was a little much. I don't think we needed all that. Put some pants on,
No, probably
brother.
not.
But no, that jump scare, my heart took a screenshot. Like, I felt it, like, just stop.
That was a good one, yeah.
No, the one where the crew is on the boat and that guy goes down there.
Yeah, that's the one
Check.
that got me.
That's
Yeah.
the one that got me.
That one, but that one I expected. That one was one of those
Yeah.
moments where the camera work was doing its thing of getting your anxiety ready, and I was already
Yeah.
gripping my chair expecting it. So all I had to do at that point was just scoot my head back, like as if he was coming out of the screen.
Yeah, you knew it. You knew it was there. You just
But
had to wait
I'm
for
telling
it.
you, when he opens that tomb, brother, I was just
I think the whole movie, that was like some
Yeah.
See, that's
Curled
the
up.
thing, though, Andrew. You
Some
say you
kinda
don't
like
like
that.
this movie. I feel like any scary movie that we get you to go see, you watch the movie like that, and then you say, "I don't think it was that good."
Well, because I don't like anxiety-driven movies.
Did
I
you
don't
know
mind
this
it-
was a horror movie?
Yeah, I knew it was a horror movie. I knew.
I
What
had
was
no
going to
clue.
see.
I had no
knew-
clue. It started. I was like, "Wait, is this a horror movie?"
I knew what I was going to see, and I preemptively was like, I'm probably not. Maybe that's a problem too, Brian. I go into these movies thinking I'm probably not going to like this,
Mhm.
and I walk out of it, and I was like, yeah, I didn't love that. I'm never going to rewatch that.
See, I get it. Like, if you would have came with me and Josh to see Saw, I totally understand.
Oh God, no.
But,
That's not for
like
me.
this one, it was tasteful. It was needed to hit that gothic tone that they were trying to get
Again,
across.
It did a lot of things right. It's not for me. Like I guess as like a critic, that's not what we are.
Yeah.
They did a good job, but as Andrew, I don't like it.
All right, respect.
I'm trying to think of some other like bigger scenes.
Ooh, can I
maybe
say
talk
where
about-
I think the movie like really picks up?
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Please.
think so. So obviously Thomas Thomas goes away, and he leaves. Oh God, I told
Ellen.
myself I remember Ellen. He leaves Ellen behind, right? And Ellen is already having all these dreams. Like that's how the movie starts off. Is like a terrible dream, which we later see it was like a soul bonding moment that her body called for Count Orlok to come to her, or her to come to him, whichever way you want to work at it or look at it.
Which vampires like virgins, which we see that in the town
Uh-huh.
too.
Yep, they do. Which was again, they were so sick, man. I wish we would have got more. I love that whole part. But so he leaves her behind with good old Frederick. Which, by the way, when they get into their little spat later on in the movie, Frederick's totally right. Ellen came in here and fucked their whole life up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
She fucked the whole town over.
Yeah, no, she
The
did,
Black
brother.
Plague.
And she knew about it. Didn't say shit. Like,
Yeah.
you
And
would
she
think
knew how to
when-
fix it.
Yep. Thomas fucking should have been prefaced all of this before he like truly went through with the marriage.
Yeah.
But anyways, Frederick, he's the money bag guy because he worked with basically ships. Like he was like the ship.
Yeah, he
guy.
got a pass down from his dad. His
Yeah.
daddy.
Big
And
ship
so
guy.
Frederick's got a ton of money. So Frederick, that's when you get introduced to Severs, which, by the way, the actor that plays Severs, cool ass voice. And I was like, why do I recognize this? It wasn't until after I realized he's the dad from The Witch.
Yeah.
But Severs is like, hey, I've tried everything that I can. We're gonna have to bring in one of the best doctors ever, and then he has to basically tell Frederick how he knows this wonderful guy, like the smartest guy, but how he basically got banished from the school because he
He's
went
kind of lost his
too
mind.
in depth with like the occult and shit. And enter William Dafoe as Dr. Everhart. Holy shit, dude. I think that's where the
Yeah.
movie really just took off for me. At that
I
point,
was-
you're just in
I
a
was
true
happy to see
vampire
him.
hunting movie.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know about vampire hunting.
He's getting
Well, that's kind of what their plan is at the end.
That's what
So-
their plan is.
I guess.
Brian, this kind of pissed me off too, right?
What's up?
So the main cast comes up with a plan. This is in the third act,
Uh-huh.
and Albin Eberhart, Willem
Mhm.
Dafoe's character, they're coming up with this plan, but Albin knew the whole time like what had to be done and like how things were gonna go, and he just didn't tell anyone. Obviously, Ellen knew,
Couldn't
and
though. He couldn't because Thomas would have fucked.
it
everything
annoyed
up.
me.
You look, I get it, but basically when Ellen was like, "Hey, can I walk you to your door?" Thomas's red
Yeah.
flag should have been going off, and Ellen was basically told like, "You got to freak it all night and kill this guy."
Yeah,
That's like the only way you're gonna get him.
yeah. I don't
But
know.
Yeah.
I think the introduction of his character though is really where the movie like went more upbeat. It was less scary now. Now you're just like basically at the drawing board trying to figure out where the fuck Count Orlok's at and how to kill him.
Yeah. And when he goes to the Harding house to help Ellen out, to meet her for the first time, that scene's great too. Like, why is she restrained and all this?
Yes. And
No more ether.
then like what because they kept saying it was too much blood, right? Which is fucking crazy. Can you imagine you checking somebody like every night they just get too much blood? Like, where's this blood coming from?
Right.
Can't figure it out.
Yeah. I think that's what made Count Orlok so intimidating to me is he's not he's not your typical vampire where it's like you could have some garlic or a cross or silver whatever it is, like to kill them, right? Or a stake to the heart, whatever. He is a like embodiment of evil. He is a monster, and so like when he brings that black plague into the town, you know what I mean? It's like he is this force to be reckoned with. Like he is intimidating. He is very scary. The way he can move through the shadows. I don't know. I thought he was. That's a really just cool idea for a monster, and he was scary to me.
Yeah, I mean, he was a true villain. He was literally coming to cause chaos if he didn't get exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
And there was no, there was nothing. There was no redeemable quality there. Like it was either he's gonna get what he wants or everyone's gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, and I think we've talked about this before, like outside of the pod, that the original casting was just going to be Harry Styles, and they wanted Harry Styles to play Count Orlok. You know how fucking dumb that would have been? This movie would have been nearly as good.
That would have been pretty stupid.
Like that would have been awful.
That.
Like that's some of the worst casting. Yeah, and I think there was a scheduling conflict or something. And it's like,
That's
let me
good.
go.
Wow,
let me
that's why, huh?
Let me go get the second best. And you're like, pull Bill Skarsgård out of my ass. Like, no, that is the guy. He was born for this shit. And there was really, I forget what scene it is. I think it was night 1 where he appears in the coat and you just see his shadow. He totally looked like Pennywise. That was like the one and only time where I was like, oh shit, like that's our boy.
Yeah. Yeah, night 1, Ellen seemed like she was down to clown right then.
It did.
In my opinion.
Well, yeah, because that's the one where they
why he gave her 3 nights. Yeah. She got all up and close and personal. And
dude,
I think so. Here's my theory on the end of the movie. She finally gets it with her man, right? Like they get it on. That's like an angry fuck, you could call it. Revenge fuck almost. And she's like, you know what? He really didn't do it for me. I'm gonna give Count.
Thomas wasn't enough for her,
dude.
Thomas ain't cutting it. Let me give Count. Because if Thomas really was enough, maybe she lets Count kill Thomas, but she got that one time. It'll be the best. I think she was like, man, that was kind of subpar, little mid. I'm gonna give Count to go on round 3, and I mean, she enjoyed it.
Well, Orlok's whole plan went correct, right? Because the only thing that went awry was Thomas escaping. I think that was the only thing he wasn't really planning for. But he didn't seem too worried about it, anyways.
No, he still got what he wanted.
I knew he was getting that nut.
Yeah.
And I mean, you walk out of it, and like I might take away like the man. I guess so. Fucking Thomas is just a cuck to Orlok the whole time. Like that's like the whole fucking movie is. And again, when they're getting it on all night, because that's the thing is they get it on all night, and so that way when the sun comes up, Orlok doesn't have anywhere to escape, right? Thomas runs from the castle to the house, and he's just running the whole time. How long of a distance do you think that is, Andrew? That's what I'm talking about. No concept of time. This boy was running
distance.
He was
night. Well, at first, remember, like Josh said, that was or you said that was supposed to be a 14-day trip, and apparently he does it overnight. So either he's an Olympic level athlete that is not following his true potential. He's trying to go work for this law firm when he should really be competing in some ultra marathons.
Only the fucking Olympics were a thing then.
And to be fair, Thomas says the 2-week thing at the beginning of the movie, right? But he's counting on just going there, getting the deed signed, and then leaving right away.
Yep.
He's not accounting for the fact that he's going to be held hostage there, be used as a juice box, knocked unconscious for multiple days. You know what I mean? Like, how long was he there? I don't know.
he's like drinking his blood and stuff, but he did the same thing to Ellen. And then I was listening to it. It doesn't help anything. I was listening to the Shane Gillis podcast, and they had someone on, and the guest they had on was like, they're heavily implying that Orlok fucked Thomas, and I was like, I don't know about that.
It's not off the table if that's what he does.
I mean, he definitely drank his blood, so Josh is right. He is a juice box. But then at the same time, my question does become, why the fuck didn't Thomas turn into a vampire? But I think it's because when Nosferatu had came out, all of those tropes of vampires weren't a thing yet.
Why didn't
Orlok... because by Twilight standards, Thomas would be a vampire, but
he'd be speed running through the forest.
Yeah, he'd be fast.
Maybe that's
and then he'd go play baseball. He'd go play baseball with other vampires during storms.
That's how he did it. Now here's my question: Orlok got a little sip of Tom. He got a sip of him. Why didn't he finish him off? Full Capri Sun. Why did he only go for?
Why did he keep him alive? That's a good question. I don't know.
Why did he go for half the box when he could have had the full thing?
Well, yeah, no, because
he sends the dogs after him at the end before he escapes, though.
And again, Thomas somehow beats the ship. Orlok gets on a ship and cuts through the water, and fucking Thomas is still running. Horse.
I've got it on lock. Orlok is playing chess while Thomas is playing checkers, and here's why. Orlok wants to keep Thomas alive because he knows Thomas is going to go back to his girl. They're going to get it on. She's going to realize, I need that Orlok cock.
I need a man.
I need that Orlok cock.
Man.
And
wow. That Orlok.
And if Thomas was dead, she might be like, no, I'm not. You already killed my man, and I want nothing to do with you. Screw you.
Mm-hmm.
But because she got to experience that subpar, she's like, you know what, Count? Drink me dry, baby.
Instead of the Aki way, it's the Orlaki way. She needs the cocky the Orlaki way.
She needed that Orcock at the end of the day.
I think, and again, so that's what I was going to say. I think Thomas did need to get out only so that way. Again, I think that
I like my
Orlok did want to in his own battle prove that he's more to her than Thomas and wanted Thomas to go there.
So what I said.
Probably.
So Brian, explain this to me. It didn't make sense. So when they're hooking up at the end and he stops sucking her blood, sun's coming through the window. She goes, no, more.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to suck more blood out of me. Mm-hmm. Why? What does that mean?
She knew that she was dead. And she knew that she needed to die in order to save the rest of the world.
Okay.
And she said more because he looked up and it got brighter after he went back down for more. And it's because he probably would have been able to slip into the shadow of the corner of the room and just stay there.
I see. Okay.
That's how I took that as.
Nope. So I'll tell you the real reason, Josh. She knew Thomas was within 100 yards, and she did not want to be alive for when he walked in that room.
How bad do you think it stank? And does his penis have worms?
I mean, I don't know, because, did you see the bottom half of him? It was pure skeleton,
well,
his legs and hips.
That was after the sun had kind of cooked him, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. That's how I took that.
Well, because,
he was
they
normally
drink blood
kind of
and
large.
They become more human-like. I think they did that in Blade, kind of. The vampires would get blood and they become human-like again.
Oh, okay.
So, he was man then.
Yeah.
When he first showed up, he probably was all a little skeleton-y down there.
Yeah. I mean, imagine how old he is.
Oof.
Yeah, did they ever get into that? How old he is?
It got to be a couple centuries or something.
Something like that.
I assume. Because he's been around for a while.
We get a movie where the villain wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially if Thomas is our true hero, which, I mean, this is us dissing Ellen. Ellen sacrificed herself. She is the true hero here, even though she cucked out her husband, but...
Yeah, but at the beginning of the movie, she's just a lonely girl. She doesn't know.
Yeah, but...
I guess what she's really signed herself up for.
You're kind of forgetting the part where Count Orlok is a groomer. He's canceled, all right? He groomed this little girl when she was 8 years old. And on top of that, her dad just called her a whore and kicked her out because he found her naked in the woods.
Yeah. It's true.
It's a
Yeah,
tough
21st
spot.
century Orlok would not be able to get away with
No,
half
he'd be
the shit he gets
canceled.
away with
No.
here.
Hey, he wouldn't even
Yeah.
be able to get the plague off because he'd be like, "You're canceled."
Yeah, you're
Orlok,
canceled.
you're
buddy.
done. Orlok, looking at a couple years in a state prison.
Now, I will say my favorite part was when the lights kept flickering on and off, and out of nowhere, SpongeBob came in. And they said, "Nosferatu."
All right, you guys ready to get the scores here?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian, did Mandy like it more than you?
Yeah, dude, she's the reason that we want to go again.
Okay.
I'll watch it again on DVD, but I don't. Think
Did she know the story or anything beforehand or no?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she knew the story beforehand.
Okay, did
Because
you?
I had an idea about it. I just didn't know about the whole, I guess, getting cucked by a vampire. I thought they were gonna stop him before he had sex with Ellen, but that was not the case.
So you did know it was like a sexual vampire thing.
I had always thought he was attached to her, but I guess I never thought of it in that way.
Yeah.
Because again, before we go any further, what I just said about the SpongeBob thing, that was all of our introduction to Nosferatu, right? We all knew him from that.
I think everyone, anyone
Okay,
that's
cool.
our age
Cool,
had no idea who he was.
But yeah, no, that's really all I knew was that Nosferatu was from that, and I knew that he was a vampire, and I knew that they couldn't use the name Dracula.
Okay. Yeah, my only introduction to sexy vampires having sex was Twilight.
Yeah,
So,
where they broke the bed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, wait, hang on. Who do you think fucks harder, Count Orlok or Edward?
Orlok, obviously. He's
Yeah,
got the
but
experience.
Orlok was a simp for one girl. Like, I assume Edward Cullen's a handsome man through and through, day and night. He just can't go in the sunlight because then he becomes a disco ball.
Well, and he gets Bella in the end, doesn't he?
He does. Wait, he makes her a vampire, and then they break the bed.
They get married, they have a kid.
Oh, okay. I only know a little of the lore.
Dude,
we'll
well,
have to
you
do a
gotta
full
rewatch.
review.
Good for you. MJR is showing the first two, so we can go see the
All
first
right,
two
well,
on the big
I'll
screen.
have to get in there immediately.
I saw them all in theaters.
I saw whatever the third one is, Moon, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, New Moon. Second. That's the second movie.
I saw that
Eclipse
at
is the third.
Rest in Peace, The Dollar Show.
R.I.P. The Dollar Show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I saw that. That's the only one I've seen. I don't know why I was there, but I saw that one at the old Dollar Show. Bring it back.
New Moon's probably the best one, so.
I don't remember it. I don't really remember the plot other than the first one.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
the
tell
second
you.
one. The second one's mainly about Jacob.
I couldn't tell you a detail other than there was some fighting in the snow with werewolves and vampires.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then they had that cool scene at the end where you think that they get in this giant battle and it was all just a premonition.
Well, no, that's the end of the last movie.
Spoiled the whole movie for me.
That's
Thanks.
the last movie. That's Breaking Dawn Part 2. There's 5 in total.
Boo.
Oh, there is 5. I thought there was 4.
Can
No,
we go
there's
to
5.
scores, please?
Okay, that was our Twilight talk.
Yeah, we can go to scores.
Okay. Andrew, you want to go first, dude? You're the lowest. For
No,
sure, so
we
go
want
ahead.
you to go first because you're the middle.
You want me to go first? Set the tone?
and then I go, and then Brian goes to leave us on a high note.
Okay. I said I would. I could see myself rewatching this. I did enjoy it. I didn't know what I was going into. Again, I wasn't even 100% sure if it was a horror movie. I thought it was like more of a thriller. But yeah, right when the movie starts, I'm like, oh, this kind of feels like a horror. And I'm not in the mindset. I don't know if I'm in the mindset for this. But I really did enjoy it. I thought the movie looked just absolutely beautiful, and the acting was
Agreed.
outstanding. So, which was two things I was not anticipating, and it was awesome. So I did have my problems with it. I feel like it, at a certain point it did drag too. Didn't know time-wise what was happening. That bugged me. Fast travel, stuff like that. So I did have issues with the movie, but I did think it was really good too. So I'm going to go with an 82 on the movie.
Nice score.
82.
You're not far off from mine.
Okay, so I'll be a little farther off then.
Yeah.
And I'll go last, and we'll let Brian leave us on, or I'll go now, and Brian, you go last. Leave us on a high note here.
Okay.
The movie did a lot of things right, but we base these reviews on what we think as a person. We're supposed to be. The whole idea of this podcast and show is we're the middleman. We know a little bit more than the average viewer, not much, but we are not quite critics. We're that happy in between. People that have seen a lot of movies, but we don't claim to be critics. With that said, my personal enjoyment, the acting was good, the set design was good. Would I rewatch this? No. It's getting a pass from me. 59.
Damn. I was
Wow.
expecting like a 65. At least giving it in the D+ range.
So you wouldn't even recommend it to anyone?
I didn't like it. No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I would not recommend someone
It's fair.
watch this in theaters. I would.
What about, do you think your girlfriend would like it?
I think she would like it more than me. I don't think she'd like it as much as maybe Mandy.
Fair.
She'd probably fall somewhere along the lines of Josh.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm being the ass here, and I'm giving it a 59.
No, that's fair. That's your opinion.
Yeah, that's why we wanted you on here. I didn't know.
And some
Josh
people
would
didn't
like
like
Club.
this movie, by the way. Some people loved it. Some people did not like it. So it's not like you're in a.
It was not an as above, so below where we're dropping.
Oh,
scores
God,
in the
no.
teens.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
It's
we're
not
not dropping
that
scores.
trash.
Let it go.
Yeah,
You did like it. I understand.
This had some things right with it too. I mean, it felt like, you know, a proper horror movie, if that's what you like. And I think you could sit down and watch it. Like I said, it was a little too long for my liking, and I don't mind something over 2 hours, but this just felt like it had filler in the wrong spots. We needed some ass filler, maybe a little lip filler, but you know.
Yeah. We did our top 10 at the end of the year, and this came out Christmas time.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask
so
you that. Would this
we didn't have a chance to see this. We mentioned that. I just to say it now, I don't think this would have been in my top 10. Probably would have been an honorable mention. So I want to mention that. But you go ahead, Brian.
All right, so fresh out the gate, the score I gave literally when I walked out of the theater, and I think it'll sit there until I rewatch it. Maybe it'll go down, maybe it'll go up. 85. I gave this movie an 85.
Okay.
It's in the B+ range for me. I enjoyed it. Again, everything that Josh said is basically what I was going to say as far as the way that the movie was shot and the way that these actors were just straight acting their ass off. It was fun. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of like, I think more fun after watching it, mostly doing the Orlok voice and just being horny. When we were sending voice messages, that was cracking me up. Mandy was doing the same thing when we were at Chili's, basically saying like, "I want my triple dipper." Like, that was good. It's good. It's good for that.
Did you order like that?
No, I wouldn't let her do that. We're in public. Plus, we got there 30 minutes before it closed, so I would have felt bad. Like, not only are we there, and now we're fucking around.
How is the triple dipper?
Pretty good. It doesn't really miss.
I keep seeing the TikToks.
Yeah, it became a trend out of nowhere. Triple dipper, ride or die right here. Just kidding. I think I've only had like 6 triple dippers in my life.
That's 6 more than I've had, so I need to try the dip.
Pretty good bundle.
Get in there.
But yeah, no, 85 definitely would rewatch again. I know you guys don't let me on the buy stream pass, but I'd buy it. 4K.
Okay.
Well, when we record that in a minute here, we'll say that for you.
All right, thank you. But yeah, no, definitely go out and check it out. I mean, if you like the Gothic stuff, and if you like Robert Eggers, then you're gonna fucking love this movie. And maybe that's why I'm so biased, because I really like The Witch, and I will go on the record saying I didn't like The Witch when I originally watched it, but me and Mandy watched it together around Halloween time, and I realized how much I actually did enjoy it. So
you gotta watch Lighthouse too. He did that.
you know what? I watched that movie, but it was one of those nights in college where we were all drinking, talking, and I didn't really pay attention. So I do got to get back into that one.
Okay.
But yeah,
and you think Mandy would do 90s probably? If you had to guess,
easy. Do you want me to ask her?
You could ask her.
Babe, what would you rate this movie out of 100?
Oh wow, on the spot.
What would you rate this movie out of 100? Hang on, she's coming. 90. Yeah, 90 flat.
Okay, good guess by us.
Okay.
Josh said like 90s.
Do you want me to say? I
got
want my triple dipper.
They can hear you. It's all good.
Okay.
Your
It's kinda
impression.
better. I sent you a voice memo, but
Oh, did you?
it was funny.
But yeah, so go check it out, guys. It was a fun watch. It feels good to be back. Hopefully, you guys will let me come back on. Maybe we can work out a contract deal or something.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to figure
Money's
the
tight,
budget.
you know. We just gave Josh a raise.
Josh got a raise.
Yeah.
we had to help him out, so he just got a raise.
Aiden, we're letting Aiden go.
Yeah.
But no, that was our Nosferatu review. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week. See you guys next time.
Bye, guys. Love you guys.
See ya.